Hi everyone! Today I'm going to talk about a new requirement for company directors, the new Director ID registration. So in this video I'm going to cover what is a Director ID, why you need a Director ID, who needs a Director ID, and of course how to set up your Director ID. A really quick disclaimer, this material has been prepared for informational purposes only. To begin, who are we? YNS Accounting is a company established since 2008 with the aim of providing accounting and tax services to individuals and business in Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney, and Brisbane, regardless of the type of industry they belong to. What is a Director ID? A Director ID is a permanent 15-digit identifier that a director applies for once and keeps forever. The Director ID will help prevent the use of false or fraudulent director identities. A person will keep the Director ID even if they stop being a company director, change their name, or move interstate or even overseas. The Director ID confirms a director's identity and will in the future show which companies they are linked to. Okay, so now let's move on who needs a Director ID. You need a Director ID if you are a director of a company, a registered Australian body, or a registered foreign company under the Corporations Act 2001. Remember, you must apply for your own Director ID to verify your identity. No one can apply on your behalf. Okay, so now let's talk about who don't need a Director ID. You won't need a Director ID if you are a company secretary but not a director. If you are running a business as a sole trader or partnership. If you are referred to as a director in your job title but have not been appointed as a director under the Corporation Act. A director of a registered charity with an organization type that is not registered with ASIC to operate throughout Australia. An officer of an unincorporated association, cooperative or incorporated association established under state or territory legislation, unless the organization is also a registered Australian body. When you need to apply, a transitional arrangement will be in effect over the initial 12 months following the commencement of the Director ID requirement in November 2021. So, if you become a director on or before 31st of October 2021, you need to apply until the 30th of November 2022. It means you have approximately 1 year to get your Director ID. If you become a director between the 1st of November 2021 and the 4th of April 2022, you must apply within 28 days of appointment. And if you become a director from the 5th of April 2022, you must apply for your Director ID before appointment. How to set up your Director ID? Step number 1, set up your MyGov ID. But what is MyGov ID? MyGov ID is not the same as your MyGov account. MyGov ID is an app and it lets you prove who you are online so that you can securely access government online services for personal and for business matters. But how you can set up your MyGov ID? So you can do it in 3 steps. 1, download the app. 2, enter your personal details. And 3, verify your identity. For the Director ID, you will need a standard or a strong identity strength. So, for the standard identity strength, you will need to enter your personal details and verify at least 2 of the following Australian identity documents: driver license, passport, birth certificate, visa, citizenship certificate, IMEI card, or Medicare card. In case that you are not able to verify your identity with the documents mentioned before, you can apply for the Director ID with a paper form. The only difference is that this is a slower process and you will also need to provide certified copies of your documents to verify your identity. Also, if the documents are not in English, they must be translated to English by a translator. Now step number 2, gather your documents. You will need to have some information the ATO knows about you when you apply for your Director ID. For example, your tax file number, your residential address, and also information from 2 documents to verify your identity. Example of these documents: bank account details, an ATO notice of assessment, super account details, a dividend statement, a Centrelink payment summary, or a PayG payment summary. Last step is step number 3. Complete your application. Once you have a MyGovID with a standard or strong identity strength and information to verify your identity, you can go to ABRS website and click on Apply Now icon. The application process should take less than 5 minutes. And last but not least, what happens if you don't apply for a Director ID? If you fail to obtain a Director ID within the required timeframes mentioned before, you may be issued an infringement notice and could face criminal charges and/or civil penalties of up to 5,000 penalty units. Remember, you should give your Director ID to your agent and the person responsible for managing your company's records to keep on file. Thank you for watching the video, and if you have any question, please don't hesitate to contact us.